Hello my YouTube friends! Today I'm going to show you how to create this spiky dynamic mask for OBS using nothing but free software. Then I'm going to show you how to set it all up in OBS. And it's really not that hard. So let's get to it! My goal on this channel is to help people become better live streamers and maybe entertain a little bit in the process. So take a second down below and leave me a comment to let me know how I'm doing. And while you're there, click that thumbs up. It goes a long way towards helping YouTube to share this content with a wider audience. And my analytics say that 80% of the folks that watch my content are not subscribed. And if you're one of those 80%, please consider subscribing. It really does help me to continue to make content that helps you. And it's totally free, so thanks. First, we're gonna need to create the masks. To do that, we're gonna use Pixlr. It's a free image manipulation software that works on your browser. There's a link in the description so you can go to the site and follow along. Here we are in Pixlr and we're gonna go to create new. We're gonna select 1920 by 1080, which is the size of our stream. And I'm gonna go ahead and just name this. We'll call it Spikes Mask and click create. Now I'm gonna go over here and select the shape tool and I'm gonna go and make sure that the color is this green, just like the green screen. Then I'm gonna click custom and I'm gonna drop this down and select a shape that I wanna create. And I like this spiky one here, and all I have to do is drag. I'm gonna hold down the shift key so it does make it a perfect circle, and then I'm gonna just move it up and put it smack dab in the center. And there we go, that's what we're looking for. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to one select, and I'm gonna select all my pixels on this star, and I'm gonna go up to select, and I'm gonna invert that selection. And then I wanna select the empty layer. I wanna make sure that my green is the same color in the foreground and click OK. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rasterize that layer. And I'm gonna hide our star layer, and I'm just gonna fill in this background. And there you go, you can see the star outline right there. I'm gonna deselect. Then I'm just gonna save this out. And now we have the mask. All we have to do is animate it. And that's not very hard, as you're going to see in a moment. Easy enough. Now we're gonna animate the masks using DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci is a very powerful free editing software. There's a link in the description so you can download it and follow along. I mean, that is the best way to learn. In DaVinci Resolve, we're gonna click new project, and I'm gonna call this one Spike Mask, and click create. And then I'm gonna go and select file and project settings. Just want to make sure that we're 1920 by 1080 and we are in 30 frames per second or 60 if that's how you stream, and click save. Then I'm going to go to the edit page and I'm going to go ahead and drag our spike mask into the clips pool here, and then I'm just going to drag it down onto our timeline. Now I just want to stretch this out. I want to make the clip about a minute long so it's not constantly restarting and restarting and restarting. And there we go. I'm just gonna put my playhead here and adjust this so we can get it to the exact 1 minute mark. And there we go. Just drag this over. And now our clip is exactly 1 minute. Very nice. So I want to go ahead and make sure my playhead is set at the very beginning of the footage. And I'm going to go up here and I'm going to look at my rotation angle. I'm going to click this to create a keyframe. Then I'm going to go to the very last frame of footage and I'm going to adjust this all the way to the 360 mark, which creates another keyframe. And now if we play it, you can see that our spiky thing is rotating counterclockwise. Perfect. You can also see that it leaves these black edges around the outside of it, which is not what we're looking for. That's not going to work for us. We are going to have to fix that so that we don't have these black edges. So in order to do that, we're going to right click over here and we're going to create a new fusion composition. We just want to make sure that it's 30 frames per second, and we'll go ahead and drag this down into our timeline and we'll stretch it out to make it the same length as our other clip. And I'm going to select it, right click on it, and then we're going to go to open on Fusion page. And we'll drag the media out over here to the right, and I'm just going to create a background right here. We'll drag this in and we'll connect it up, and I'm going to go ahead and make the background green. And we want this to be the same color as the green on the other one so that you don't notice it all that much. We'll drag this below, and you can't see any difference in the two color greens, so we got it close enough that I can't tell, and that's good. That's all we need. We're gonna right click and we're gonna go back into our Fusion page, and we'll drag this over here. Now we're gonna go ahead and select this circular mask, and we'll drag this down, and we're gonna connect it up with our background, and there we go. So now we have a circular mask. We're gonna invert it. We want the center to be clear, and now we're gonna adjust the width and the height so that it's perfectly circular, but it's going to mask out everything except for that center little spiky thing. And obviously, if the width and the height are the same numbers, that means it's perfectly circular. So we'll just try to get it that way, and there we go. Now we'll go over into our edit page, and we'll kind of zoom this in a little bit, make it bigger so we can see it. And you can see the edge or the tips of all of our little spikes are cut off by our masking circle. We don't want that, so we're gonna go ahead and go back into Fusion, and we'll just expand out our height and width just a little bit. Doesn't need to be that much bigger, and you can just select here and drag your mouse while holding the left mouse button, and that'll adjust it finely. And there we go. Now we have our spike tips in there. Perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. Now all we have to do is export it. So we're gonna click the little rocket ship right here, and we're gonna go ahead and name this one. We'll call this spike mask counter so we know which way it's spinning, and we wanna browse to the location where we wanna save it. And we can leave the format and the codec the same if we want, or we can do it MP4. That's fine as well. We want our resolution and our frame rate to be 1920 by 1080 and 30 frames per second, or whatever you stream at. We click add to render queue and then render all. And now we're gonna go back in once that's done rendering, and we're gonna go to the end of our composition. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna drag this rotation angle all the way to the other side. And now when we click play, you can see it's spinning clockwise. That's awesome. So I'm just gonna go ahead and change the file name, call this spike mask clock, and we'll add it to the render queue, and we'll render this one out. So now we have two masks, one spinning counterclockwise, one spinning clockwise. We're gonna drag those into the shutter encoder. Now the shutter encoder is what I'm gonna use to make these file sizes much more manageable and easier for OBS to use. It's a totally free tool, and the link is in the description down below. Once I drag the two files in, I'm just going to go ahead and select the function VP9 and then start function, and it will render both of these out. And you'll see once these are done rendering, they are about half of the size of the MP4s, which is quite awesome. Sweet! Now all we have to do is set it up in OBS. This is the fun part. Here in OBS, I'm just gonna go ahead and rename our main scene here, and I'm gonna call it cam, and click the plus, and we'll just add a camera in here, and we'll drop this down, select our camera, and I'm gonna go ahead and change it from default to custom, select my resolution, and then I'm gonna go ahead and select my microphone. And we're good. There we go. Now I'm gonna click the plus under scenes, and we're gonna go ahead and add another scene. This one's gonna be called mask counter, and then I'm gonna go ahead and click the plus in sources, and we'll call this spike counter. Click OK. Then I'm gonna go ahead and load that counterclockwise spike mask. We want the WebM. I'm gonna click loop and OK, and there we go. There's our counterclockwise spike. Now we're gonna do a mask clock. Click OK, and under sources, we're gonna go ahead and load a media source for this, and we'll call this spike clock, and click OK. We'll browse to the location of the WebM file for the clockwise spike. We're gonna loop it and click OK, and there we go. So now we have our two masks loaded. I'm gonna click this plus, and we're gonna go ahead and set up our main scene. So I'll click the plus right here, and we're gonna go to scenes, and we're going to load our camera. And on this camera, I'm gonna right click on it and go to filters. I'm gonna click the plus and load the dynamic mask filter. Click OK, and I'm gonna drop this down, and we're gonna select the counter scene. Then I'm gonna go down all the way to the bottom under alpha channel, and we're gonna select -1 under the green input value. And there we go. So now we have our spinning mask. I'm gonna go and add another media source into this scene, and I'm gonna click browse, and I'm just gonna add this one here and click loop. So there we go. Now we have another media source. I'm gonna right click on that new media source, go to filters, click the plus, and I'm gonna go to dynamic mask. I'm gonna drop this down and select the spike clock scene, the one going clockwise. That's the one we're gonna use as the mask for this one. Then I just need to scroll all the way to the bottom under alpha and add that -1 under the green input value. And there we go. And now we have our mask. Looking awesome and really easy to do. If you want to see how to make this cloud dynamic mask totally free, you should check this video out. And if you're always looking for tools, tips, and tricks that can help make you a better live streamer or YouTuber, subscribe to the channel. My name is Michael Feyrer Jr. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.